when it is.
Yeah, I think you're live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Apologies for the technical complications that happened earlier. Yeah. Welcome to Techies 15 Live by Immigrant Techies Network. We do this live podcast every week on Tuesdays during lunch. It happens usually between 12:15 and 12:30, but today we ran into some issues, so we're starting much later. But we hope you can, sorry that maybe you couldn't join at 12:15 as you had planned. And this recording is usually available on LinkedIn and on YouTube for you to watch after. So usually I bring in guests, people from the ecosystem that are building something, some kind of solution, some kind of support, or sometimes we talk to people about their own career journeys, how their career has been and what has worked for them and all of that. But today, the cool guest, you know how we always have a cool person guest every week. So today, the cool person guest is moi and myself. So yeah, so it's just me today. And I thought I will talk about just a few of the things we are working on. You probably, if you've been following our page, probably have seen us talking about an initiative called Trade Without Borders. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and also a second initiative that we're working on that's going to launch in the new year, but we will be recruiting participants in December before the 2025 runs out. So I thought we could talk quickly about that. Now, at its core, what we do is economic development. Now, when we look at what we're doing around talent development, workforce solutions, it's really about attracting the best talent and making a plan to retain them to Canada in Canada, right? While at the same time supporting our entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we want to grow the number of companies that are being created in Calgary, let's say, and that means we need to be attracting top talent. We need to be growing top talent. So people that are already here, people in schools, people that are coming in from different countries, we have to have great strategies to equip them for the roles that we have. We talk about Canada's productivity crisis. I strongly opine that a big part of that is how we don't maximize immigrant talent. Think about the cost, what it takes to bring highly qualified immigrant talent into this country in terms of the resources, the government infrastructure process, all that goes into that. So when they come and we don't place them where they can have the maximum impact, we don't place them where they can earn the highest income, really, it's a detriment to our economy. It's a detriment to our GDP. So working on talent development solutions, empowering immigrant talent is going to be a big part of fixing our productivity crisis. So part of what we do, at Immigrant Tech is solving for that, solving for solutions that actually support immigrants and place them in the place where they bring the maximum benefit, economic benefit to our ecosystem, our entrepreneurship uh, economy, right? While at the same time, of course, there's the social aspect. People have come here having been sold on a dream, and then they come here and we let them down. That's just not acceptable. And the way I like to say this is the three-way loss situation. So the countries that we are raking this top talent from, those countries are already losing. They're losing great talent. And then we bring them to our country here and we don't place them where Canada can benefit from them the most. So Canada is losing. And of course, the individual immigrant talent too, they're losing courage, they're losing confidence, losing money. So no one ever designs something and says, oh, it's going to be a loss on all sides and we're going to okay this because it makes sense. Nobody goes into things knowing it will bring the maximum ROI. But here we are. So anyway, long rant over. The point is, working on talent development solutions like what we've done with Pathway Pro and several other programs, we're taking a next step to that for leadership, immigrant leadership development. So we have done this program last year, 2024. We had a program called Elevate, which is designed for immigrant leaders. So people who from their home countries before they came into this country have led leadership roles in tech and business. And they've got to the point where they are people managers. So we gauge this by how many years of leadership experience they've had and what level of leadership they have experienced. Because, our startups, for example, find it hard to attract senior talent because we know how uncertain it is that a startup will succeed. So it's hard sometimes for people that are already established in their leadership roles to join startup companies. And so they do need those strategic thinking, strategic leadership level roles. And then we have the immigrant leader talent that is coming in that's not being hired for junior roles because they are obviously overqualified. And then there's a lot of hesitation in hiring them for leadership roles as well. So we ran that program as a way of positioning immigrant talent that are already leaders from their home countries and getting them acquainted with what leadership looks like in a Canadian startup environment or in a Canadian enterprise. Because we know that leadership is more about the people skills, the relationships, and the technical aspects. So we do recognize that there could be a gap, that there are gaps in how people lead from region to region. So we put that program together to fill that gap, to orient people around what works in this environment. So we're taking that one step further by focusing on immigrant women leaders. So we are launching Elevate Her. We're calling it Elevate Her, and that's going to be running in January. But we will do the recruitment before this year runs out. So next week on Monday, please watch out. We'll send out information about Elevate Her for immigrant women leaders to register for. So it's a program, it's a course plus it's a program that has both an asynchronous and a in-person part together. So there's a course that'll be taken at your own time, and then we meet every week with leaders in the ecosystem, leaders that are ready to be sponsors, not just mentors, because we realize that the gap is even larger, is even wider for immigrant women that have been leaders to be able to step into leadership positions here in Canada. So yeah, so that's one. And then the other part is Trade Without Borders. So now, still talking in the language of economic development. So we're talking economic development in terms of local development when we do talent programs, workforce strategies, workforce solutions. And then what does it now look like when we talk economic development in terms of global competitiveness? So this same immigrant talent pool can be trade channels for Canadian businesses to their home countries. So this is another opportunity we've been sitting on for so long in Canada, and that I think the economic climate, what's going on with us and our neighbors to the south, has now made this something we can no longer ignore. Canada definitely needs to diversify our trade opportunities, where we do business, who we do it with, who we partner with, the way we think about trade needs to expand. And how better that to do it than to leverage what we already have, our people, right? So immigrant talent, immigrant diaspora groups, they understand the market intelligence of these underexplored regions that Canadian businesses don't typically look at. They understand the cultural fluency, they have the relationships. There are many immigrant professionals that are here that are running businesses back home. So they understand those networks as well. So what does it look like if we put structure to that and say, and allow and open the rest of the world to Canadian businesses? So if you are feeling like we've been backed into a corner with all the tariff war and all the uncertainty and what it has done to our economy, I mean, I'm not going to downplay that. I'm not going to say we won't be hit by whatever the US does. Of course, we will. But now we know how dangerous it is to rely on one partner primarily. Now we know. Even if the tide shift eventually, even if there are more Canada-friendly policies coming out of the US eventually, now we know that we cannot afford to put all our eggs in one basket anymore. So Trade Without Borders is about rethinking trade, rethinking international trade, and leveraging the resource we already have in our immigrant communities, immigrant business groups that are already here. Many of them are already flying under the radar, doing a lot of work, but there's no strong structure behind them. And we just want to start elevating this kind of opportunities. So Trade Without Borders is an initiative that is going to continue to run, but we are opening it with a summit that is happening on February 25, 2026. So the summit will bring together Canadian businesses. It is for Canadian businesses, as a matter of fact. The whole point of the summit is to say, if you're a business in Canada, if you're a scale-up, enterprise, whatever level you are, and you are looking at where to do business, we want to show you what it looks like to look beyond the US. What opportunities are already existing, what trade agreements are already existing, what kind of businesses people are already accomplishing in places like Africa, like Asia, like the Middle East, like the unusual spots, the place that, those places that's not the first on your list of where to do business. So I want to show you what you're leaving on the table, what opportunities you've been leaving on the table this whole time. So it's for Canadian businesses. So we want you to come and explore what opportunities look like. And we'll have trade officials from all those regions will be there as well. Of course, immigrant diaspora groups focused on business will be there to share insight, market insight, understanding that only people that understand, that have on-the-ground information can share. And there will be some pre-summit activations, virtual events leading up to February 25. So I want you to stay in tune for that as well. And please register as soon as possible because it's not a very big event. And the venue capacity is only 150. So the earlier you register, the better. And please follow Trade Without Borders page on LinkedIn as well, as we're trying to grow that the followership of that page so that more people can be aware of what we are trying to accomplish. So if you are a trade-focused organization, a trade-focused consultant, and you would like to be part of this movement, reach out to me. Like we're building this for us all to benefit. So the Diaspora Business Council, Diaspora Chambers of Commerce, we want to do this with you. So reach out to us. We want to hear your voice. We want you to be able to tell Canadian businesses what opportunities are in your regions, in your home countries. So yeah, so those are the two updates I thought I will share. Elevate Her, the program for immigrant women leaders, and also Trade Without Borders, the international trade program that is aimed at opening the rest of the world outside of the US to Canadian businesses. So thanks for joining me. Try to keep this as short as possible. Sorry we started late today. And yeah, you know where to find me on the streets of LinkedIn if you have any more questions. Thank you so much. See you next week.